The love of power is limited. The power of love is limitless throughout human history. Power has been one of the most sought-after forces in society. Empires have risen and fallen in its pursuit. Individuals have sacrificed integrity, relationships, and inner peace to obtain it. Entire systems have been constructed around its accumulation and preservation. Yet despite its prominence, power when driven by ego and control remains inherently fragile. It is dependent on status, recognition, dominance, or external authority. It fluctuates with circumstances and can be lost as quickly as it is gained. The quote, "The love of power is limited. The power of love is limitless," offers a profound spiritual contrast between two fundamentally different forces. One is rooted in control, fear, and ego, the other in connection, compassion, and unity. One seeks to dominate, the other seeks to elevate. One is constrained by external conditions, the other transcends them entirely. To understand this quote spiritually, we must first examine what is meant by the love of power. This phrase does not simply refer to leadership or influence. Rather, it describes the attachment to control, the desire to assert dominance over others, to shape outcomes according to personal will, or to derive identity from superiority. The love of power often arises from insecurity. When individuals feel uncertain about their worth, they may attempt to compensate by accumulating authority, wealth, or status. Control becomes a substitute for inner peace. Recognition becomes a substitute for self-acceptance. However, power rooted in ego is inherently unstable. It depends on comparison and hierarchy. It thrives on division, on the idea that one must be above another in order to feel significant. This creates a perpetual cycle of competition and fear. As long as identity is tied to external authority, it remains vulnerable to change. History provides countless examples of leaders who possessed immense power yet lacked fulfillment. Their influence was vast, but their peace was fragile. This is because the love of power seeks to control what is ultimately uncontrollable: the hearts, minds, and destinies of others. By contrast, the power of love operates on an entirely different principle. It does not seek to dominate but to connect. It does not measure worth by hierarchy, but by shared humanity. Love in its spiritual sense is not merely an emotion but a state of being, an orientation toward compassion, empathy, and unity. The power of love is limitless, because it is not dependent on external validation. It arises from within and radiates outward. It transforms relationships, communities, and even entire societies, not through coercion, but through inspiration. Love has the capacity to soften resentment, bridge division, and foster healing. It empowers not only the giver but also the receiver. Unlike power rooted in control, which often diminishes others to elevate the self, love expands the capacity of all involved. From a spiritual perspective, love reflects our deepest essence. Many traditions teach that at the core of human existence lies an inherent interconnectedness, a recognition that separation is an illusion created by ego. When we act from love, we align with this deeper truth. As you've explored in your reflections on personal growth and mindset, intention shapes experience. The intention behind our actions determines their impact. Actions motivated by control may yield temporary success, but they rarely create lasting fulfillment. Actions motivated by love cultivate trust, respect, and resilience. Consider how leadership changes when rooted in love rather than authority. A leader guided by love listens as much as they direct. They prioritize collective well-being over personal gain. Their influence endures not because it is enforced, but because it is earned. The power of love also transforms our internal landscape. When we practice compassion toward ourselves, we release the need to prove our worth through dominance or achievement. We recognize that our value is intrinsic, not conditional. This recognition fosters humility and strength simultaneously. Humility arises from understanding that we are part of something greater than ourselves. Strength arises from knowing that love does not require validation. Furthermore, love transcends boundaries of culture, language, and belief. It can inspire movements, reconcile conflicts, and heal wounds that power alone cannot mend. Its impact is not confined to specific contexts. It flows wherever openness exists. Ultimately, the quote reminds us that while control may appear impressive, it is inherently constrained. It is limited by circumstance and sustained by fear. Love, however, expands beyond limitation. It grows stronger through giving rather than hoarding. Ultimately, the quote reminds us that while control may appear impressive, it is inherently constrained. It is limited by circumstance and sustained by fear. Love, however, expands beyond limitation. It grows stronger through giving rather than hoarding. In choosing love over dominance, we align ourselves with a force that does not diminish but multiplies. We shift from seeking influence to embodying integrity. And in doing so, we discover that true power does not arise from commanding others, but from uplifting them. Thus, the love of power may grant temporary authority, but the power of love shapes enduring legacy. In the end, it is not control that transforms the world, but compassion.